Just captains for this week. Artis Johnson will be our special team captain. What a great addition and a great kid he is. I mean, he's come in as a JUCO guy in January and done a tremendous job, as Marcel Williams, who was our captain last week. That's unusual for two junior college guys to come in and have the impact on your team that those two have had, but they're special kids. And Chase Hancock will be the defensive captain. Had a tremendous game, as you all know, a week ago. And, of course, offensively, Tyree Brady was special, so he'll represent the offense. So encouraging thing is, to me, is we've had 8 different captains in just going into 2 weeks, going into our 3rd week, which means I feel good about the leadership development of this football team. You know, we had 8 different guys that have stepped up and not only played extremely well, but have done a great job off the field. So that's encouraging. It has to continue. The Kent State game it's going to be a tough game for us, especially because of what they do. I mean, they create a lot of issues. You know, anytime you play a team, the Kent States, the Georgia Techs, the Navies, that run that triple option, there's a lot of preparation that takes place. It's something that you don't see from your own offense. It's something you don't work against for the first 2 weeks. We've been totally different. So it'll be a challenge for us to make sure we get lined up and play it the right way defensively. And, of course, you know, we all know what type of team Kent is. But, you know, we went into overtime with them down there 2 years ago, and it was an extremely physical, tough game that we fought our tail off to get out of there. So it'll be a great challenge, just like every game is. It's the biggest game because it's the next one. And I look forward, and our guys are looking forward to this week, the preparation part of it, and get ready for an excellent game. The weather's going to be tremendous, so I'm sure we'll have a great crowd. So, you know, we're excited, looking forward to Saturday.
How tough is it for your scout team to do a triple option? I mean, probably none of them played triple option in high school.
Well, I tell you what's tough, Doug, is the quarterback position. He's who makes them. Holly makes them go. You know, he was a tailback a couple of years ago. I mean, even in I think the first part of last year, he was still playing tailback and moving to quarterback, and he can run. You know, he's probably a 4 or 5 guy that's extremely tough. He's physical. He's a competitor, so that's where it all starts. So you're going to have a hard time getting that look at the quarterback position. Garrett Morrell's going to have to do a great job this week. We started last night and got ahead a little bit, which helps the scout team because they got an extra, night last night of actually, figuring out what to do as far as running the different plays are concerned. So it'll be tough to emulate, but we'll have to do the best we can. And we got our best guys we can get on scout team. And we'll have our second team offense at times during practice today and tomorrow emulating their offense so we can get as good a people as we can get going against our defense because the speed of that, seeing it for the first time, is something that's hard to adjust to, so we got to try to get that done in practice.
Doc, I know there's a great coaching fraternity, and I know you're happy, to see their coach returning. I mean, it's a kind of scary situation.
No question. I mean, Paul's a tremendous young coach, and I think he was back last week. I think he was actually there last week. I don't know how much coaching, game plan, and all that he did, but it's just great to see him back. It's great to see him healthy, and I know he's got a great message to everybody out there as far as the prostate cancer is concerned, just getting that thing, make sure you take care of yourself and get your regular checkups because he's a young guy that all of a sudden got up and stood up and bid him. But we're glad he's back, and I'm sure he'll have an impact on that team because I know those kids think a lot of him.
You mentioned after last week's game getting your eyes right. As a defense, and especially against a triple option, you've got to be looking in the right places and be fundamentally sound.
There's no question. Last week, the positive and the negative of last week is we did not get fit. We didn't give up big plays because we got out physicaled or we got out matched as far as personnel was concerned. A week ago, was we got batted with our eyes at times, and some young players didn't take care of their business. And then you're absolutely right. Whenever you're playing the type of team we're going to be playing with Kent, you better have your eyes right, and you better have your where they're supposed to be, and make sure you're executing your responsibility because there's a lot of one-on-one responsibilities are going to have to take place in order to stop that offense. So you're right. Our eyes better be right, or we'll have problems.
Especially with the defensive second level has played really well for you all this year. How difficult is it to not get over aggressive against a run against a team like Kent State that does some misdirection and things like that?
Well, what gets you is, they'll as you mentioned, you get your safeties involved in the run game. You're going to put your corners out there in one-on-one situations, and that happens. And they haven't thrown the ball a lot, but when they do, they've created some big plays. They've had some big plays with some posts over top and some things where they've ran by people because corners are, as you mentioned, didn't have their eyes right, and safeties are actually involved in supporting the run. So you're basically in zero coverage out there with corners at times that have to be able to get their job done. So, they like I say you have to commit so many people to stopping the triple option. But on the other hand, you got the ability to fake off of that and throw the ball down the field. So you got to be able to do both, and our guys will have to do a great job this week preparing for that.
I know that Malik came in after CJ was ejected in the first game, and then obviously had a great performance last week. But it seems like the run defense that he brings and his speed getting to the football is something that's above a kid of his age.
Well, both those safeties I thought have played extremely well. Now we got to get better, but if you look what Drayton as a freshman and this kid's done as a sophomore, then they both got great futures. But they're both just extremely tough. They got range. They're good tacklers in space, and they both have got great futures. They just got to continue to get better, and this is going to be a big game for both of those guys because, as I mentioned before, those safeties are going to be a big part of what we do defensively to try to get this thing stopped.
Can CJ regain a spot on the first team, or is that?
We always need players. I mean, there's, I think at the end of the day, go play. I mean, we're going to play our best players for seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen. I think you see that out there, and we need CJ. We need them all at some point, and so he's just got to, when he gets the opportunity, go in there and make plays. If he does that, he'll play. And but yes, he can. Yeah, go play and put on film, and and I think he will. I mean, he's a wonderful kid. CJ's a wonderful kid that works hard, and like I say, we need them all. That's for sure.
Do you expect Tyree Brady to be a focal point for defenses from this point on, and if so, how do you adapt?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're taking two people to bracket, that's what you want. I mean, if you get a guy at a receiver position where it takes two guys to bracket or play over and under or whatever you're going to do with him, then you lose people in run support and you open up some other areas. So I would think after watching that tape that there's going to be a lot of people who have to be concerned about where he is and where he lines up. But that only helps us in other areas if that's the case. So, we haven't had that around here for a while where people were concerned about one guy. But if that's the case, that helps us overall as an offense.
Normally you're looking to establish the run to open up the pass game. Do you feel like his presence from last week in the pass game will open up the run and give one less safety coming down the line of scrimmage?
I don't think there's any question. Like I say, when you have a guy that can make plays out there one-on-one, if you put him one-on-one, and he does what he did a week ago, you got to give some help. And whenever you give him some help, then, as you mentioned, that opens up. You don't have quite as many guys in the box. So that's part of what you do is you try to take your best receiver and put him in a position where they got to force him to double or play over and under, whatever they do with him, and that should help us in the run game. But it also should put Juracek and Marcel and Willie, who are pretty good players, one-on-one somewhere else.
How do you keep Chase Litton from a big performance like that? He could sort of get fixated on Brady pretty easily with his ability out there. How do you keep him level-headed and keep him going through his progression?
I don't know. If I was him, I'd throw it to Brady too. But I mean, I just do. I mean, if you get him one-on-one out there, and he wasn't one-on-one at times Saturday. I mean, he had a couple of times they bracketed him and they still got the ball into him. But he's going to be a good player. He's got to give him an opportunity to make plays. And I thought Chase did a tremendous job of what we asked him to do in that game. And not only getting the ball to Brady, but he got it to Marcel and got it to a couple other people. But just do it. Just execute your reads of whatever we have called that particular play. And he's done a great job of doing that. I'm sure this week will be no different.
How about Keon Davis? He's been pretty
Yes.
explosive so far.
He has, and he's, we're going to get him. He'll probably start at tailback this week. He has, as you mentioned, he's been very productive. And so he'll, and Trey's done some good things too. And like I said, we just like the Revis situation. We're going to need them all, guys. We need Trey. We need him. I want Tyler King to get in the game Saturday. I think he didn't get him in last Saturday because he hadn't played in 3 weeks. He had an infection. Only practiced 3 times. So, hopefully we can get him going this week and get him going too. So I'm anxious to. Keon has been very productive whenever he's touched the football, so he's earned the opportunity to get more touches.
What did the total effort show you Saturday?
Yeah.
This group just went down there thinking they could win.
Yeah, I mean, and believe me, we walked out of there. I mean, there wasn't anybody happy with what happened. I mean, we went down there expecting to win the game. That's what we do. And I thought the effort was tremendous. I mean, you look from start to finish. The team played now at times. Eliminate a couple things. I mean, a backside block on the kickoff return, which you would do every day in practice, just execute your technique, and guess what? We're sitting in the end zone, maybe probably leading the world in kickoff returns right now. But that being said, we didn't execute that. We got to be better at that. I mean, we spend too much time on those techniques to come up with a holding call on that, and it shouldn't happen. So, we just got to improve in certain areas and keep getting better. And I thought we got better and did some things a lot better from game 1 to game 2, and we got to continue to make sure we take that, the same step from game 2 to game 3 this week, and keep improving both offensively and defensively and in the special teams.
The defense kind of got caught last week on that flea flicker play. This week you're playing a team that runs the ball off the QB. How do you kind of prepare the defense for that kind of trigger?
The same thing we've been talking about. Just execute your technique, execute your fundamentals, and keep your eyes where they belong. If you got a guy covering, you get young guys at times they get their eyes in the backfield. They don't get them where they're supposed to be, and therefore they give up a big play because of it. So, we just need to, there's not a game this game here will be even bigger with, like as Grant mentioned earlier on, whoever it was, getting your eyes where they belong because of the assignment football that takes place when you run the triple option. So that'll be huge this week to just execute and do what you're coached to do. Do your job. Call it do your job, and everybody's going to do their job this week extremely well against that offense.
I mean, to break it down simply, Marshall's seen this kind of running attack a lot in the 90s when there were a lot more running. Josh Cribbs ran it a lot when he was there at Kent State. So, they always said hit the fullback, hit the quarterback, hit the tailback every play.
Well, the thing about that triple option is you got to do all three. I mean, you got to take away the dive, then you got to take away the quarterback, and then you got to take away the pitch. So if you got one guy that doesn't execute his responsibility on that particular play, and you got the quarterback, that's capable like Holly is, and he'll take advantage of that guy making that mistake, and you got a problem. So it is assignment football, and the biggest thing, as I mentioned, a lot of times in the past we all saw a lot of that in the 80s and 90s. There's not a lot of people doing that anymore, and people have, people play in the ACC with Georgia Tech. I mean, they'll take a block of time every week in practice, and it's a Georgia Tech period, and same thing in their camp, same thing in their spring ball, because they got to play that type of offense once a year, and it's hard, and same thing with Navy, so, it'll be a challenge for us, but Chuck, our defensive staff's a tremendous staff. They'll come up with, a way to get it done.
Third down defense, I know that, you got to get off the field, especially with them. They're going to take 2-3 yards on first and second down, try and get in those certain short situations. How do you try and put them in uncomfortable situations? Do you send more pressure, or do you just not take chances like that?
Well, yeah, I don't think defensively against that offense you can become one-dimensional either. I mean, I think you got to mix things up with what you're doing, but in order, you got to get them into third down. You want to try to get them into third and long, so you got to create a negative play at some point, whether it be on first or second down. You got to try to create some type of negative play, some type of disruption. Whether it be with your front or your linebackers or whatever you got to do, but you got to get them in third and long. That's the critical thing, because as you mentioned, the guys are running offense extremely well. They don't come up third and long. They come up 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and they can just run their offense when they get to that point. So at some point you got to force them into a negative play to try to get them into a third and long situation.
I think he gave up a 46-yard run on the first play Saturday, and then a 24-yard touchdown in a sudden change situation. But other than that, the run defense was pretty solid.
Was pretty solid against a good offensive line and what we thought were good backs. But and again, and it's like you can't take away those big plays, but you eliminate 4 or 5 plays, and our defense played extremely well in that game, and that's encouraging. But on the other hand, you can't give those plays up because it involves into points.
Used Lefevre on the kickoff. What got him his first action of his career? What went into that?
Well, my man Vedvik hurt his foot off, not in practice, but walking down there. He just had bruised his foot a little bit. He'll be fine this week, so he couldn't kick off. So
How he bruised his foot?
I don't know, some off the field deal. It wasn't anything football related, but so the other guy went in, and I thought he did well. Went in and kicked the first one out of bounds, but the first guy kicking in that situation, but came back in, kicked the next 5, and he's going to be, I like him. He's tough, and he's going to be fine. He's going to be an excellent punter. He's going to be an excellent kicker.
That type of situation, his first kick, it goes out of bounds, and obviously you're not happy about it, but you walked over and put your arm around him, and it sort of looked like he was trying to veer off away from you because he wasn't sure how the reaction was going to go there.
Well, I didn't. Probably, but what are you going to do with the kid? I mean, he's all I had. I mean, I didn't have anybody else to kick that particular day, so I mean, I had to. But you know what? I knew what kind of kid he was. He's a great kid. He's tough. He works. He's just like Vedvik. I've never seen 2 kickers that work like those guys work in the weight room and everything they do. And he's a guy that just ripping. It's not going to help him. He went in the next 5 and he kicked off extremely well. So we're going to need him the rest of the year. And like I say, he's he's going to be an excellent punter, and I thought he did a good job with the kickoff. Okay, thanks, guys.